All right, thank
So
you,
we can
Karen.
go ahead and start.
We will call the discussion of the advisory committee member.
Bruce, it's a little hard to hear you.
I'm sorry. Let me see if I can fix that. We'll call the discussion of the advisory committee members present to order. How's that? Well, is Todd on the advisory committee?
No.
Okay, so thank you all. Appreciate you guys taking time to join us this afternoon. So we'll call our discussion to order. And we will not vote on any approval, any past minutes. But I would like to ask for 109 board update. We have no report. But we do have some stuff developing on the current RFPs. Pete, would you like to go over that?
Yeah, sure. Karen, I did add a few slides to your presentation today.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Might have to get the refreshed one.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and stop and I'll take a look. You can start talking.
Okay, so yeah, we've got two open RFPs right now. One is for the capture rate study. The other one is for the cost of services study. The first one that I'll talk about is the capture rate study. And if anybody can remember when this went out to bid, it has been quite some time. And we really, when we went out, we did not have a lot of interest. We had two bidders. One really did not meet what we was looking for. So we started talking with the other, and the amount that was bid was extremely high. And so, we didn't accept that. And so I started to have some discussions with them just to see what they would do. Are you able to pull it up, Karen, or should I?
You can, because mine that in my folder is still just mine. So I didn't see another one.
Okay, give me just a second.
And Corey did join the call. So we have 8.
Hey. We do have a quorum.
Yes. If you want to backtrack real quick, we could.
Well, certainly let's do that. Try to get caught up here a bit. So we will call the official meeting to order. I would like to change the order here a bit, Pete. The first order of business would be approval of the March 20th, 24 minutes of the advisory committee meeting. Did the members have a chance to review those minutes?
I move approval.
We have a motion to approve by Ms. Leonard. We have a second.
I'll second, Greg.
Second by Greg. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. The only other notes that we have is from the April meeting, where we did not have a quorum. And with that, we'll bounce back to the contract RFP discussion Pete was working his way into. Thank you very much for your patience in that.
Okay, so everybody can see my screen. I'm presenting, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one is still for the capture rate study as I began. Two bidders, one met the criteria. They have extensive experience in doing these all across the country, which was great. The other bidder really never even bid on what we was talking about, so they were basically disqualified. Some of the stuff that we talked about, or they talked about in their plan, was the sampling plan, and this is basically what we was talking about. The number 3, to include HOAs, I don't believe that was really something that we was looking for. It was basically contracted And it should have been just unincorporated areas, but that's a small thing that can be taken care of. These were the sorting criteria. So these are typically the stuff that we're going to find in most of our waste. So it's not, if anybody remembers the waste composition study that we did back in 2018, this is very small in comparison to that as far as what we're doing. So we were breaking this down to more curbside type material. The sampling that they suggested, if we did these samplings, because we ask a whole lot about what our margin of error is on these things. So I would say that anything that we do would be plus or minus 10% at a minimum. I think that that's probably pretty close for a capture rate study and would be sufficient. They talked about really what it comes down to in the end. We would have the average household recycling capture rate, average household recycling contamination rate, and the occurrence of bagged material at the household level. So I think that we're going to get what we need to out of here. I think that the way that they were going to conduct this was good. I think that we're going to get the materials that we want. We'll get a final a report outline, a draft, and a final report, which is all what we wanted, except the cost. And I can tell you that the cost was well above what we should be willing to pay. And so I went back to them and started to talk and to try to get it back to something that was at least reasonable to consider. And they came back with a little bit of a scope change. So I think there's somebody got an open mic. What they suggested was Metro taking on some responsibilities, and that would lower the cost quite a bit. So they want us to be able to provide details of home rule cities, specifying which ones have exclusive versus subscription. I think that would be worked out, working with our home rule city representative to find someone that would allow us to do that. So I don't think that that's really going to be a problem. We don't need to do a bunch of home rule cities. We basically need one representative.
Well,
We
we
don't-
need representative like you've got, both ones who have coordinated pickup and those who don't.
Right. It would have to be one that has the coordinated pickup. Absolutely. I don't know that the list of HOAs is really important, other than the fact that we need to stay away from those when we start to look at the unincorporated area. But we could provide the unincorporated area. Metro would provide the covered work location for sorting. We would provide for the discard of the sorted material at the end. We would dedicate crews for obviously the USD to go out and collect the materials on 5 consecutive days. We can ensure that we get there about 10 a.m. The one thing that I couldn't, I guess, agree to is dedicate a crew to retrieve carts from home rule cities with organized collection and deliver them to the sort facility. I think that that's going to require some working out, because we're talking about other waste haulers material potentially, unless we can do this through not taking a cart, but bagging it, tarping it into something, and use that as our sample. So I think that the proposal, everything here is doable. It is Metro taking on a lot of the costs and responsibility in this thing. But I believe that it is something that we can do. Is this is this something that everyone feels like we should move forward with if the price is where we feel like that it could be? And I can tell you, it's in the $50,000 range. And that is way less than what it was. I can tell you that. So for what we're going to get out of this, we hope that, and we've always through the education committee referred to this as something that we really need. And I do think it will be beneficial for us a great deal. But I believe that this RFP will get there. Does anybody see any problems with the changes here? Anything that's going to put us in a stumbling situation?
Well, Pete, since you've taken the burden of what the government can do, is this going to fulfill our needs of the RFP in your mind?
I believe it would. I do believe that it would, Bruce. Obviously, any help that we could get from the private sector and maybe moving some of this material, we would gladly accept. But I think that in the end, this would give us what we need. I think you've read the proposals. I believe that it would.
What was the original cost, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't remember for certain, but it was, I believe, over 200,000.
I was thinking.
And what
So-
do you think this would come with the changes you've made? Do you think it would still be 200,000?
Oh, no, it ain't gonna be more than 50,000. Or we ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, no,
Uh, That's basically what I told the bidder is we cannot spend that much money on a capture rate study. It's just not gonna happen. So this was their proposal to reduce some of our costs and get
and
it
what
under
we're
50.
looking for is the difference between the various methods that are used to pick up recycling.
I think we're looking at not necessarily the methods, but maybe you could say that, but also looking at different demographics of where things are being picked up. Whereas, a low income area is going to have different habits than a organized city and a unincorporated area where they don't have a whole lot of information for them. They're different too. So it's to see the differences so that we can bring messages that address those differences or bring the message to them in a way that we can account for those differences.
One of the issues when you go back to looking at the sample sizes that you were talking about and the number of potential households in each of the different areas that you're just articulating, I wonder if those sample sizes are large enough. I'm not trying to still think the idea for this is a good idea, but I'm not positive how we're gonna, Jefferson County is enormous. The number of people that are subscribing or not doing anything is large. And that's not a huge number of homes.
It's not. I'm not a statistics person, but when you see the way that polls are done and things like that, they generally don't have more than 1,000, and that could represent a massive number. I couldn't tell you statistically why it is significant, but this is what I am told. So plus or minus 10%, if they're telling me that through statistics, and that's what these people do. I think it would be okay.
You think 175 households is enough?
No, we actually suggested 450. This was them telling us approximately where we would be if we had based upon the numbers that you see here, where we can get to. If we get up to 700, we're going to be better. If we're at 175, we're going to be less. I think anything under 10% is probably going to be pretty good.
And we are taking carts from homes and then putting them back?
Well, there's a couple of ways that was suggested to do that. One is if we had control, we could do something like that. But lots of times it's putting it in a tarp. And I think that you could see some of that in their bid. You basically tip it into that and you put it on the back of the truck and put the address on it.
Can you, instead of sorting by carts, can you sort what's in an entire truck?
That is another option. It doesn't help us a whole lot. And it loses some of the individual household behavior. So that's, yes, it would probably help us, and it could probably continue to decrease our cost, but we lose a little bit. Is
No, I
that
understand. The reason I'm
significant?
asking is that Rumpke has recently in our area gone to the mechanized arms on the truck. And you're going to have to get here fairly early to be, they do a great job. They really do.
Yeah, anything that we do has to be coordinated, and we're used to that. We've been working with the Recycle Right program, and we've gotten we got good cooperation, and we've got those contacts. So I don't think that part would be much of an issue.
The problem in doing an entire truck, Pete, would be if they vary from a specific area and cross over and go into another area. whether
Agreed.
City or an unincorporated area.
So it would have to be, even if we did it in the back of a truck, we would have to do a limited load. In other words, we would still identify the number of households and where those households are, and that's all that would be in that truck. So
And
that would
Going to
keep
what
it
Bruce said, they'd all have to be in a group that didn't include, let's say, residential on a contract and unincorporated. Because
Yeah,
the one, for example, I don't know if it still does, but the truck that does me did do the unincorporated street behind me for years.
Yeah, it would have to be a dedicated truck just for a home rule city. It would have to be a dedicated truck just for the USD and for the suburban areas. So, yeah, we definitely don't want to cross over any boundaries. So that's not a problem. It's just the way that you design it. And I believe that somebody has their hand. Corrine, did you have your hand up? Go ahead. If you're speaking, I can't hear you. Are you still there? Oh, did you not have your hand up or just an accident?
Green, you're muted.
You're muted. Can you unmute, Karen?
I tried, it says request unmute. It doesn't let me actually do it.
Do you want to type it into the chat?
Yep, we can watch the chat.
And while she's typing that, I had a quick question, Pete, and it sounds like you answered this already, but just to kind of clarify, it sounds like your team is going to take on a lot. Do you feel like that's an additional strain, and is that going to add extra cost to your operational budget in terms of more, I don't know, staff pay or overtime or anything to do some of this additional work?
No, we wouldn't necessarily do any of this on overtime. And what we would do is schedule it at the most advantageous time for us, which is our off week from recycling. So That allows us to have a few additional staff to be able to do things like this. Mr. Logan, who is our other assistant director, is on the call. He's more of the operations guy. I don't know if he would want to chime in on that. If he's there.
Yes, I'm here. I agree with Pete. We'll make sure that we do it at the most advantageous time on 2 service weeks so it wouldn't cost us much of anything.
Okay, Corrine had the question in the chat, says, my thought was instead of grabbing carts, bringing them to central location and returning them, could they not transfer the contents of the cart to a really large bag and take it and tag it and take it? That would eliminate the need for a return trip. Yes, that is one method that can be done using a box truck. But so that we would have to decide, do we want to do that? Or do we want to collect the home rule city in one like mini packer that could do that? It's probably the least manual labor way, but you do lose a little bit because you're not, from what they told me, is you don't get as much individual household behavior. But I can get a little bit more detailed into that. It's more in the detailed planning of it to make sure that we get what we need.
Any thoughts from any other committee members? Pete, from a waste hauler's perspective, I don't know if anybody is going to complain too loudly. And please don't take me as speaking for all the haulers. But if you come and collect 25 or 30 recycling carts out of a community and put them in a mini packer, if we do have to take trucks and move them off routes, you know, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. The curbside sort with tarps, we have no problem, I would say, giving up what minimal material that you would actually obtain. I don't know if we would need to get releases from our customers to allow that, but that's something I can check into.
Actually,
Yeah,
that's a very good question, because if I look at one person that is across from me, their carts are filthy. And I have another neighbor who every time he's passing out his recycle stuff, he comes home and washes it with antiseptic. So getting carts back to the right families is going to be really important.
Well, I'm in total
Yeah.
agreement, Sandra. I don't want to see the carts leave the residents they're assigned to. In some way,
I agree with you.
they would have to
I think
stay.
there's too many problems with that.
Yes.
I totally agree with that, and I understand. We just lose a little bit. If it was the contractor that was doing this, the way that they have done that in the past is they would write it on there to make sure it goes back to the exact address. But if a mistake happens and you've got a very clean person versus somebody that has never washed their cart, I can see the potential for conflict. For sure.
People are very passionate, and the only
Yes, they
way
are.
to satisfy that concern is to give them a brand new cart.
Totally get it. Totally get it. Live it every day. Okay. If there's no other questions,
I guess
Well,
just
we-
one other quick question. There's no way to actually do it on site. In other words, take pictures with cell phones and do it right there. Because otherwise you're bringing it to a location, somebody's going through it all and they have to bring it back. So can't those people that are doing it just do it at the, in the alley or whatever it is? It would take more days perhaps, but not more hours. It might actually save time overall.
time is money, but the statistics are created by weight. And it would be very difficult to sort that many categories at the curb and get a weight on it. I think just organizationally speaking, you're better off to bring them to a central location where you can weigh all of that one commodity at one time.
I forgot you're doing it by weight. All right, sorry.
It's okay. So, does anybody feel like, I mean, and I know we're kind of, this is a public meeting, but, $50,000 out of line for a capture rate study? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I think that was around where I was expecting. I didn't expect that we would have to be doing so much, but in order for us to get it done, we'll find a way to make this happen.
I think for the amount of work that you're contributing through SWIMS, if you're willing to sacrifice that, you have to tell me, are we going to get the product out of our $50,000 investment? And from what you've seen, are we going to get that much in return?
I believe that we will. I can go back to them. Maybe we can have another meeting with them to ensure that we're going to get that and to work out some of these little details.
I think to make that decision, we kind of need a task list of what they intend to provide and what will be required by SWIMS.
Okay. Yeah. We'll get back with them.
Any other comments in that regard?
Pete, I'm sorry, I'm sure you all covered this earlier, but how many households or how many different carts would the 50,000 get you? Like how many, what number was that?
See if I still have the.
I'd just like to hear a cost per cart separation.
I think, don't
Did you
think
say
I can answer that.
475? Did you say
I
475?
can send that out. I don't think I'm going to be able to look up that RFP and be able to tell you exactly what it was. We were, I think, in that 450 range. So got to remember, it's not just 450, it's 450 households with garbage and recycling. So you have more samples that have to come from it. So it's like if you had the 175, that's 175 garbage and 175 recycling. So look at it that way as well. But I believe that it is in that 450 range.
And so that 450, it would essentially be 900, if you count recycling and trash, 900 different sorts, essentially.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Just to get a ballpark number, just to get an idea.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Which is a lot. I mean, when you think about sorting that much stuff.
Well, I'm glad you said trash and recycling because I didn't double the number, which you essentially need to do.
Yeah.
Pete, how much was it the last time that you all did the study? Wasn't that 2016?
The 2016 was it was more of a waste composition study of everything going to the landfill. So I'm not sure that we can make that comparison as easily. And it doesn't get you into the granular data close to that household level that we wanted. So that one was cost-wise with all three components was a lot. It was a lot. It's around that 300,000 mark, but it was a much bigger study.
Pete, I don't know how we could vote on this without that information on what they intend to do with regard to the 50,000.
Yeah, I don't know that we need a vote here today. What I was looking for is, am I going down the right path with this? I think that definitely not. I think with the way Corrine put it, at 50,000, it sounds reasonable. At 200,000, it does not. So that's why I was coming back. And I just wanted to assure that if we were going to take on some responsibilities, that we were going to be able to do that. And I could not I could not talk for everybody's, particularly a home rule city or private waste hauler. So I needed to get some assurances that we were in a position to move forward. I think that Bruce, if we go back to them and talk with them again, I think it would be good that we include the team to do that. I needed to see if they was even willing to drop it all. And I at least got that much. So I really I don't need a vote today, but you guys have given me what I need, the feedback, and we can get the team back together and see if we can't finish up the deal.
I think we only have one path available to us right now. So let's take a look, see, and if it's acceptable, we'll move forward.
Okay. And let's see.
Next item, do you want to discuss the last meeting we had?
Well, I got the cost of services study. So this one's been going on. We put out a RFP and we had a pre-bid meeting, which was something that we definitely wanted. And we had several people, I don't know, 4 to 5 different bidders attend the meeting. We ended up getting 2 proposals, 2 very good proposals in my mind. Both met the criteria. We did the initial evaluation and the score was very close. So since the scores were very close, we were able to do conduct some interviews to better understand their proposals. And we had the first one of those discussions today with one of the bidders. It was a good conversation. I like their proposal. We have another one, I think is it next week, to talk with the other bidder. And after that, we would make another scoring and then we would award. So we would hope that we could get to an award sometime in the next month. Hopefully after that, the work can begin shortly thereafter. But I think that we got some good bidders. Of course, Bruce, Karen, Sumeda chime in, but I do think that we got some good information. And I think that whatever we come up with, whoever we choose, we're going to get a good job. It's just a matter of the details.
I was pleased with the presentation that I saw earlier today.
Awesome. But that's all I have on the cost of services study RFP.
All right. Thank you. Did you want to, or Karen, discuss the education component?
Yeah, if we're ready to move on, I can do that. Pete, do you want to switch back or do you want to just do the slides?
I can do the slides. We're already here.
Alrighty, so and I kind of took a step back, looked at the 5-year plan again. I know we've had some different documents that help us see the different specific actions. Some are a lot of them are very much related to education. And they are listed, if you've read the 5-year plan, it's in sections like collection system and disposal system and recycling and reduction. But some of them are kind of similar, even if they're in different sections of the the plan. So I looked at them and thought, okay, the themes that I see for education are these: outreach and technical assistance, standardizing messaging and marketing seem to go hand in hand on some of them, illegal dumping prevention, and then litter prevention. So you can move on, Pete. So in the plan, we have 3 specific actions that are related to outreach and technical assistance, and they're listed here. 2 of them are under collection system, and then 1 is under recycling and reduction. They're very, very similar. And I am right now kind of working on really, I guess, planning what technical assistance will look like, specifically for businesses. And I actually have an old packet from the Green Ink. I know it's been mentioned before. Those that have been around for a long time might know what I'm talking about. And I think it was Sarah Lynn that gave me a hard copy. So I've been kind of looking at that, and then just planning out how is this going to look when we really start doing this. We are on the verge of hiring a second full-time educator that will be the same title as Diane. So I'm really hoping with having a third educator that we can get some of these programs off the ground. So for that part of it, still kind of working behind the scenes on that. The next theme is standardizing messaging and marketing. So under collection system, it talks about a marketing program to standardize solid waste messaging across the whole area, reinforce that overall messaging of putting waste in its place. And then it's going to include some of those technical assistance and outreach programs that we have. But this is kind of alluding more to what we've been doing with Field Trip. But so far with Field Trip, our vendor that does our digital campaigns, we've been focusing on litter. So it's not that we haven't had discussions already about a recycling message, but that marketing program, that's what that's referring to. And then under the recycling and reduction section, there's a couple things there that are also about standardizing solid waste messaging. And then of course, some of the things we've been working on with this group, and when we had more of a subcommittee, and working with our haulers that are so kind to come to join the committee or come to the meetings, we are still working on kind of what we can do to get out some district messaging to all residents and have it be standard, because we know there can be a lot of confusion about recycling. So what we've already talked about here before are our different audiences that we have for that. And there's new recyclers, current recyclers, and then what we haven't really jumped in with are commercial customers and non-recyclers. But when we talk about new recyclers, we've talked in this group several times about having materials that are consistent and given. An easy way to do it is given with the recycling container when a new recycler joins, subscribes, however you want to do it. And then with current recyclers, the only thing we're doing so far, there can be various methods of education, but the one that we are kind of actually doing is the Recycle Right or OOPS tag program. And that we've done with Rumpke and WM. We've wrapped up the routes that we've been given, and I actually saw Andy today, so I spoke to him about maybe looking for new ones. Todd, I saw you on the call. I don't know if there's any routes. It works best, of course, if you have a subscription area, contracted area. You maybe 200 to 300 households, and then our team can go do the Recycle Right program, and we can be giving them some education at the cart. So part of making sure that kind of working with the haulers to be able to figure out a method for the district to be providing some resources and having a standard message with all the haulers. What I wanted to do was have a meeting, and I sent a pre-meeting survey with these questions, basically finding out from the haulers, how do you currently communicate? And those are some of the options that were given. Give a description of any of those methods. Will your company deliver district content? Like if you're already doing emails, can we provide some district content that are then attached to the emails? And then looking ahead to know if there's specific approval processes, because I know you all, I know the companies are possibly national companies and maybe have some methods for that. So I had sent that out. The goal was to set up a meeting. The NWRA was going to set that up for us. A meeting was set up. You can go ahead or do the next slide, Pete. A meeting was set up, but it was also canceled. So the pre-meeting survey link is still good. I had failed to put name and company on there, so I got one response so far, and I don't know who it was. So let me know if you filled that out. And Katie from NWRA has not responded on a new date or anything about why it was canceled. But then the rest of that slide is just kind of showing what the goal was, what we wanted to do at the meeting. And the pre-meeting survey was to help move that along so we don't really have to ask those questions at the meeting, but we already have an idea. So that has not happened yet. So without that input, I have been kind of thinking about ideas, and I wanted to get input here. This is our latest recycling accepted materials card that was made. It is, we've talked about the images, be some discrepancies in how we can get past that, and that's fine. But the image itself is the one that we used. I have not edited anything. So we could edit the images if needed. I do like that it has the specific things to leave out of a recycling cart. As we know, that is one thing we can always agree on are the things that we don't want in recycling. So this is a mock-up of an idea of kind of using the same content, which was first provided by the Recycling Partnership when we got our grant. And I've already had communication with them that it is ours to manipulate and add logos and all of that. So that's okay. So my thought process was to possibly have these printed with a little hole in the corner and be able to attach them to carts. And if you go to the next slide, Pete, this is a really boring looking other side, but I was just quickly trying to think, well, I looked at some of the materials that the other haulers have provided that, so having information about how to place your cart away from obstacles, no need to use bags, and then of course setting out and bringing that cart back in. So this is all information that is true for any hauler as far as the rules go and the recommendations for the no bags needed. So that can obviously have better pictures, images, or whatever, but it's just an idea. And so I don't know if, does anyone have anything? So that was kind of about new recyclers, and I don't know.
One of the, on what you just had, one of the areas that I've heard about before is the final one, pulling the thing in by 4 p.m. These people leave and go to work, and pulling it back in before they get home is a little tricky.
It's the day after collection, so it's not the same day as collection. That's in the local ordinance.
Okay.
So like if my recycling's on Monday and I need to have it pulled back in by Tuesday at 4 p.m.
I think that you could have probably some home rule cities that have a different ordinance on that, which is fine.
Okay,
The
yeah.
4 o'clock the next day is countywide, but a home rule city may say, no, it's got to be in by 8 o'clock that night. I don't know
Yeah, I
that,
hear you.
but it's something that maybe we can change the wording a little bit. Check with your local home rule city or HOA.
Yeah, or I mean, really, if this were to actually happen, I guess, we could print specific to that home rule city too.
Sure.
Well, something, it's probably better to make it broader than specific. Because
yeah,
most people
easier.
have them in when they get home from work.
So,
think that-
oh, go
I
ahead.
think that this is pretty good. And, I think this is probably the low hanging fruit is to create something like this that can go on these carts as they're going out. I'm not sure that we would get too much resistance from anybody on doing something like this. So I
And
think
I,
this is happening.
yeah, on the previous side, and it can be designed however, but the idea of putting all of the haulers' logos on there, I really thought would help for people who end up moving around the city or have family members, in a different part of the city. And it can be, we can do our best to make it very clear that this is true for all of Louisville, no matter where you live.
It's a good point.
So as far as current recyclers, as mentioned earlier, our only real program that we have going is the Recycle Right program. It's going well. I've shown, I think on another call, it's been a while. If I did it in April, it's been 3 months, but we have a dashboard, which is really fun to look at, and we can see in real time kind of what's going on with the tags. But I am hoping we have routes within the urban services district. And then I've been doing other cart education on the off weeks because we're bi-weekly and a lot of the haulers are too. So I've been trying to partner with private haulers to find routes that we can do the program in that are on the opposite week as this Metro's recycling. So I guess on the call anyway, it's been Hillary or Bruce, for Rumpke, and then Andy has helped me with WM, and I was hoping maybe Todd might connect me with someone if Republic has any routes, and if there's anyone else. I don't really communicate as much with other haulers, or I don't know if I can do something with the city of Shively, but I'd be up for it. So Diane's very good about making maps, and the crew goes out and we use an app that they input the data in, and that's how we can just see it on the dashboard and hopefully make improvement. It doesn't always, but I would say the majority of the time we do improve.
So Karen, my thing here is, yeah, the Recycle Right program works really good because it's curbside. Current recyclers, obviously, we can continue to touch curbside, maybe even do some, quick distribution, not necessarily Recycle Right, but just giving out that same information that we give new recyclers. And we can cover a lot more ground. But I see this as an area that we should be able to work with the private haulers, home rule cities, to give them snippets of stuff for newsletters or for mailing inserts when they send their invoices or bills. That's where we got to do this. And then social media to try to hit some of these current recyclers. I think we have the content. And as long as we got everyone on the same page in an agreement that the data and the information is consistent across the county, we just can get it out there. However we can get it out there. So I think you guys have come a very long way when it comes to this segment of what the education team is supposed to be doing. And we just got to get it implemented.
Yeah, I can put together some content that could be possible. And I think the same questions apply to the haulers, like how, you know, how their methods work or approvals, or I know I follow Rumpke on Facebook, I think, and they'll have some information put out every once in a while, trivia kinds of things. So so I know it gets done. It would just be a matter of trying to coordinate the efforts to make it very known that this is coming from the whole county, you know, for anybody to know. You want to move on, Pete? Okay. One of the other themes for specific actions is about illegal dumping prevention. So this isn't necessarily being worked on yet, but that is a theme, and there was one action about that.
I would say that there's a lot of work that goes on with illegal dumping, and you could probably consider the campaign that we have going on for litter to be somewhat this way, because it talks about our focus on services and people utilizing services the way that they should. If they did that, there wouldn't be any need for illegal dumping. So in a sense, we're already doing this, but we don't have that specific focus of an education campaign that's out there. But don't think that it's not part of what we do every day.
Yes, thank you. That's yeah, I agree. And you know, when we share anything about our enforcement team impounding or looking for a vehicle, you know, we're always sharing information about how that dumper could have dumped legally, but also oftentimes for free. So there is messaging out there. I guess it's not in the form of specific flyers or digital campaigns or anything like that. Although you did mention our clean, which that's the next part of the meeting, is a report about our Clean Together campaign. So I was kind of thinking about anti-litter education being part of that field trip campaign, but you're right, Pete, it does kind of encompass illegal dumping too. So there, that first bullet, I kind of put field trip in parentheses to share that's the vendor that we're using. There's a campaign currently going on, Clean Together. And then the second one that's part of the plan is to try to work with Literati, which I think Pete mentioned he had tried to contact. I don't know if that means you'd never heard back, but I've definitely done their contact form, and I haven't heard anything back yet, but they have worked with a few cities on some community work for litter data. And it is intriguing if we could get some information about actually partnering with them. So if there's no other questions or discussion about the 5-year plan actions, this next part is the latest information we've received from Field Trip about the Clean Together campaign. Shall I go on, or did anybody have anything else they wanted to say?
I think we can go ahead and proceed.
Okay.
I do want to commend you on those recycling cards. I think it shows a collaborative effort between all haulers as well as the city government to inform the people. I really like it.
Thank you. All right, so we'll go on. I'm going to do my best here. This is where I think when the campaign is over, we might invite Field Trip to give a report at a board meeting. It's still going on. This campaign is May, June, July. So I think this is like the halfway point. If you hopefully have seen some billboards around, or maybe even some sponsored ads coming through if you're on the internet or social media. But we have photos of real people that are doing real work in Louisville, and we are really wanting to connect residents to the fact that there are people doing the work, and we want to all be a part of the effort. So this is just the design strategy that they came up with. You can go to the next slide. So there are creative assets, and that's display ads, social media assets for Facebook and Instagram. They have streaming audio, digital video, outdoor boards, and bus shelters. And then there's just a couple pictures there. So the digital display, that's basically like if you get online and you're maybe looking at a news website or something, you'll get little ads on the side or at the bottom. And then its primary goal is awareness, driving impressions. She has, in June, we saw a significant increase in the engagement of display banners with clicks. And the target age is 18 to 44. So, like I said, the campaign is 3 months. So we have data for May and June so far, and then we'll get a full one. So this is similar. I gave reports about our last one that was It Adds Up. And you can see over on the left, the benchmarks. CTR stands for click-through rate. And so you're looking for somewhere between 0.05% and 0.18% that people actually click all the way through. And we're above that for the total there. So, so that's good. And this one, again, I don't know, not much changes because this one's the high impact display. So we're within the benchmark here as well on the click-through rate. And then there's streaming audio, which they have on Spotify, Pandora, and iHeart. So it's targeting those younger listeners that stream music, and not that other people can't stream music. Anybody can stream music, but it is targeting younger people. Completion rates dipped in June, but overall we're performing at benchmark rates. And then we also have streaming video, and it is performing above the benchmark. And this one is the 15-second audio. So what happens is you can kind of skip it. I know if anybody watches anything online or YouTube or something, you get the skip ad thing. So they're kind of measuring whether or not going all the way through. So the completion rate is at a 90% average.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Surprising.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah, and similar here, this one's the 15-second video. View through rate at 70%, which is pretty good too. And then there's a YouTube video that is non-skippable, 15-second. So I'm not really sure when they say view through, if that just means people aren't just turning off the whole thing or what, but again, when we the team at Field Trip kind of gives us this and basically goes through all these metrics, and everything looks good. And the reason they do checks monthly is because if they're seeing anything out of the ordinary or that's not working, then they'll adjust the methods. So we have social ads on Facebook and Instagram. It's just, again, this campaign is very much to increase awareness. And they have static ads and then video, meaning like a picture versus a video, and they're both performing well similarly. This is the cost per 1,000. So again, looking at the benchmark 3 to 10, I think you don't want it to be high. So I think I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering correctly, if anybody has good experience with this, but I think the 252 is pretty good. So we have poster sized boards throughout the market, coverage throughout areas more affected by litter. We reach a significant portion of the market at a very cost effective rate. So posters provided over, I think I'm not really sure about the paid impressions thing. And then there's some bus shelters. Sorry, I'm not the best at this. It's like she tells us all of this stuff and it makes perfect sense. And then when I try to explain, it
Mhm.
is different. And we have a website. It is clean.louisvilleky.gov. If you want to check it out, if you haven't yet. And so there's a pretty good engagement rate on that. So if you this ad and you want to click through, that's the page that you're going to get to, and it gives it. We work our Metro IT to make a site that doesn't have all the clutter of the normal LouisvilleKY.gov site. And it just has the nice pictures, images, a little bit of info, and then your basic information about services and how, if you get rid of your large items correctly, take care of your garbage cart, the things that you can do to help prevent litter.
I think this is significantly more than what we had in the last campaign, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a good campaign. That's it.
Very nice. Any comments from any committee members?
I'm just impressed your click rates were that good and the videos.
Yeah. Has
We
And
anybody
as you-
actually, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sameda.
Oh, I was just gonna say, so it sounds like you probably targeted these 2 Louisville Jefferson County users, right? And some of those numbers were like 300,000. So that's half the population at least has seen it, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah. That is good. Has anyone seen any of the billboards around?
Okay. Or gotten any of the ads on their surfing?
No,
No.
and you know what that brings up? Could we have somebody show us some of those at a meeting? So instead of just looking at statistics, we can look at what the statistics come from.
Yeah.
It'd be more fun.
Yeah. I think, let's see. I have, I don't know if anybody could hear that. Here, wait. I'll share my screen real quick because since it's on, since this is on my No Waste Louisville Facebook, I get the notifications when someone likes the post or comments on it or whatever. And I don't know if I have to, oh yeah, I can. If you all want to see the 15-second video, do that.
Keeping our city clean means having pride in where you live.
But it's not magic. It takes real people doing real work.
And we can't do it all on our own.
We need you too. Let's keep Louisville clean together. Keeping our
So that's that.
That was good.
Yeah, it's a really good idea to highlight the real people and put a face to the program.
Mm-hmm.
It's very endearing.
Yeah, we definitely need to maybe send, I don't know, can we send links to this thing because of the way it is, Karen? I don't know. I don't understand landing pages very well, but
Well, there's the link and to the landing page, and I think I can share this too. So if you end up clicking on the page, it is simply clean.louisvilleky.gov. This is Angelo, right front and center there. And then a little bit of what's kind of said on the video, some quotes. You can watch the video right here from the page. And then how you can help keep Louisville clean. And you can read how to be cart smart, use a large item collection service, or download our Recycle Coach app. If you see it, pick it up. That's kind of the former campaigns are kind of, and the colors and things, they're kind of evolved, you know, sort of added on. And I will say this, because these tips, this is all county. So when you click on these links, they actually go to a different page on our district site that gives information about what you can recycle, about the pop-up drop-offs, the waste reduction center, the has-been, and then if you have whichever service you have, I have it linked to where you can go. You know, if you get on this and you're like, oh, I have Rumpke, then it takes to their website. So that, you know, Louisville Metro, it's like, yeah, if you want to report things or go to 311, that's a little different than if you have a private hauler. And then the Recycle Coach app is good for anybody to be able to search how to dispose of anything, even if you don't have anything on the calendar except the pop-ups. And then the video again. So
Karen, you've done some very nice work. Thank you very much. It's unfortunate that we're not aware of it. And, you know, I don't know how we can better communicate within our committee is, you know, because we have to use that to get out to the general public. So thank you very much.
I would say that a lot of this stuff has been concepted to everyone, but because we've had delays, or not delays, but we haven't had a few meetings. You didn't, I mean, it got done after the last meeting that we had, so you might not have been able to see that as very well. I do think that we went over it with the board, if I'm not mistaken.
oh yeah. And, you know, I don't know how, you know, a lot of this is as far as the digital campaigns, they're digital. So a lot of it is coming up on your social media, or, you know, if like I said, like if you're reading the news online or something like that. So it might not be targeted to you all specifically, but the word is getting out. Despite that, we would love if you happen to see it, to share it, or maybe even look for it. I know Corey Greenberg there is on Facebook a lot, and she shares everything. So I think it just sort of depends on your level of involvement with that platform. So, you know, I know Sumeda with the Office of Sustainability, Gianna shares everything. And so it is happening. It just, if the digital stuff isn't your thing, then, you know, that's okay.
I would also add that there are other initiatives going on with litter for sure. One that we've talked about before is debris coming from accidents, and we continue to work on that. And we've sent a letter to all the record services, and we've gotten feedback. And, you know, there's still work being done there because I still see wreckage everywhere, and I've watched a record service getting ready to leave stuff, and the person that had the wreck actually took and put it on the records truck. So I was hoping I was going to catch them because it's the law that they have to pick it up. But anyway, also waste hauler, because waste hauling trucks actually, you know, goes down the road, they're carrying a bunch of waste. It's never going to be a perfectly 100%. Are not going to drop something or something blow off of the truck. But I will say that we have been working as a working group to try to figure something out, to do more education and to actually bring in enforcement to this regards. And that will bleed over into more enforcement, I think, of litter ordinances across the board. I know that the state police actually were pulling vehicles over near 65 outer loop and on up. And I believe that that's actually had an impact because what I've seen is more trucks with their covers that are properly fitted and with their covers. And I also believe, and you guys, I can't go without seeing litter because I work with litter, but I believe that the highways have gotten better. They have been cleaner in my mind from what I see. A little bit of litter is too much litter, and it always, in everybody's eyes, it will be littered, but I've seen a reduction in my mind. I don't know if you guys have any feedback on that or not, but that's my belief.
Any comments?
Apparently not.
I guess I always see litter myself too, Pete, so it's hard for me to comment because it's never clean enough.
Yeah.
Seems like I always see somebody dumping out their ashtray, and that's
Drives you
the
crazy.
one I hate the most.
It drives you crazy.
But no, thank you so much for the good work. I think it's very exciting. We have made some progress. It's unfortunate it took 3 months to be able to see it, but it was exciting. I guess we're at a point now where is there any other comments from committee members before I move on? Hearing none, do I have any comments from the public? That's the opportunity for public input. Hearing none. Pete, Karen, is there anything else that we need to discuss this evening? I think we've had a productive meeting, get a little bit more information back on the RFPs, but is there anything else that we need to touch on before we adjourn?
We have the recycle. Oh, sorry, I keep doing it. The resource recycling conference coming up. We're fortunate enough that it's going to be in Louisville this year. I just thought of this, but I don't have the information up, but I did send an email to everyone about a month ago when that first came up. I would encourage anybody that wants to attend these things to let us know. And hopefully we can get that covered by Waste Management District funds so that you can attend. And it is a really, to me, it's one of the better conferences across the country. And you can get into a lot of different aspects of recycling from, I don't know, well, a lot of different things. So I think that the agenda was put out with that email. So if you didn't receive it or you want me to resend it, just shoot me an email and let me know. But I would encourage everyone to consider going to that.
All right. Thank
And
you.
then I do have one more quick thing to share. So our Office of Sustainability has been working with SWIMS and other departments on a plastic reduction campaign this month. So it was really nice to have Karen join us yesterday for a press conference where we kind of did some public education about reducing single-use plastics, taking your own water bottles and grocery bags, for example. So that's getting some good feedback from the public. So that's going on throughout July.
Thank you.
Have a pop-up drop-off this weekend. Is that right, Karen?
Yes, Saturday at Fern Creek, enter at the elementary school and you'll exit through the high school parking lot.
Any other events or information we want to share?
I don't think so.
Hearing none, the next 109 board meeting will be Wednesday, July 24th at 5:30 to 7 p.m. And the next advisory committee meeting will be August 21st, 4:30 to 6. may want to reach out, Karen, and touch base with some of those that we haven't seen for a while. And
Yes, I can do that.
the date. And we appreciate everybody's involvement this evening. Thank you very much. It was a very informative meeting. Good work, Karen, Pete, and educating us on what we've accomplished thus far. So, with
Thank
nothing
you.
else, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Motion by Ms. Leonard. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All of those in favor? Aye.
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 You opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Thank you all so very much. Everyone have a safe evening.
Thank you.